Good morning, Governor Bevin. My name is Tyler, and I hope this message finds you well. Now, Governor, there are some things you've done that I agree with, and there are some things you've done that I don't. But there is something I think we can both agree on, and that's that if a person can work, then by God they should. Governor, both you and I believe that Kentucky can do. I'm here today to talk to you about a department that proves this to be true every single day. Governor, I'm here today to talk to you about a group of people called the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation.
Now, the Department of Vocational Rehab, I've never heard of that before. What do they do?
Well, Curtis, in a nutshell, they're a government agency whose job it is to help people with disabilities gain and maintain employment.
Wait a minute, isn't that just another government entitlement program? I mean, why should my tax dollars be going to fund people with disabilities?
Well, Voc Rehab does a lot of things, but they are absolutely not interested in giving handouts. They literally exist to help people with disabilities stay in real tax-paying jobs. They don't want you to be relying on government handouts to live. They want you to be able to get it on your own. In short, Curtis, they're not interested in giving handouts. They're interested in giving a hand up.
Okay, I guess I see your point, but why should the state of Kentucky be the one giving it to them? I mean, shouldn't these people be able to stand on their own 2 feet?
That's actually a pretty fair question. And the truth of it is, no amount of assistance is going to help somebody get up and move if they don't have the gumption to do it on their own. But let me ask you this. You're a runner, right?
Yeah, I like to run.
So you're a person who likes to push themselves hard. You eat right, you train often.
Yeah.
How far do you think you'd get in that marathon if you were to lose a leg? 1 mile, 2 miles, 10? Well, if instead of condemning you to fail before you even start, what if someone had come alongside you and offered you a prosthetic leg and shown you how to use it? Well, with that little bit of help, not only could you finish that marathon, but you may very well be passing up people with 2 legs. That's what Voc Rehab does. They take people who might otherwise not have a chance to succeed, and they give them what they need to run.
And I hear what you're saying, but that pretty much just proves my point. Those legs are expensive, and saying that Kentucky has to be the one to pay for it. Now, I mean, I definitely feel sorry for the guy with 1 leg, but why is it my job to get him another one?
Man, I have a story I'd like to tell you.
Okay.
No. Just bear with me. I think this will make things a little clearer for you. Curtis, have you ever heard of something called a cardiac sonographer?
No, I can't say that I have.
I'm glad to hear that, because just about the only time you're ever going to meet one is if you have serious heart problems. You see, a cardiac sonographer is a very rare kind of specialist. They work with the sonogram to take really accurate diagnostic tests of your heart. So if you've had a heart attack, or if you're one of the millions of Americans suffering with heart disease, cardiac sonographer is your best friend. Now, as it happens, my mother is a cardiac sonographer, and she's done it for some time. 2 years ago, 2 things happened to her that had never happened before. The first was that she started making more money and contributing more to the state of Kentucky than she had ever done in her life. And that's true of most people as they get older. But the second thing that happened to my mother was that she started to lose her hearing. Now, it wasn't bad at first, but it got worse, and it got to the point where it was stopping her from doing her job, stopping her from doing the job that may very well save your or my life one day. And at this point, she had 2 choices. She could go and she could have gotten onto the system, gotten onto the dole, retired early, drawn what benefit she could, but that's not who she is. And that's not who she raised me to be, and that is not who most people with a disability are. My mother didn't want to sit. She wanted to keep working. And so she went down to Voc Rehab, and she told them what was happening. And they provided her with assistance in getting a hearing aid. Now, because they did that, because they made that investment in my mother, that hearing aid they provided has paid for itself over and over and over again. Voc Rehab create taxpayers. They don't remove them.
I mean, I guess I see your point about Voc Rehab, and I think it's pretty clear that they're doing a good thing. To tell the truth, I might be interested in getting into that kind of work myself. Where do I sign up?
Well, there's good news and then there's bad news.
Okay, what's the good news?
The good news is that the University of Kentucky has a rehabilitation counseling program that is among the top in the U.S. Some of the best and brightest professionals in the field are produced right here in Kentucky.
Okay, so then the bad news?
You have about the same chances of seeing Elvis in concert as you do getting a job with Voc Rehab in this state.
What?
No, seriously. Right now, the budget for Voc Rehab has been cut so deeply that there's a hiring freeze. It's uncommon to talk to a counselor that has fewer than 250 cases. Many of them are working 400 cases at a time.
Let me make sure I got this straight, okay? So, the Department of Vocational Rehab basically exists to help people with disabilities work.
Yes.
They actually create taxpayers.
Yes.
They save the system money by preventing people with disabilities from having to be dependent on entitlements to survive.
Yes.
We already have plenty of good ones being trained every year.
Yes, and yes.
And you're telling me, in spite of all this, we're not funding it.
Yeah. That's right.
Why?
Why? Why indeed? This question of why is one that I seem to be having a lot of trouble with. But I do know that if you're watching this video, then you, like me, probably have an interest in finding out. Below, you'll find links to exactly how to do that. And they'll have contact information for your legislators and your representatives. And I'd like to encourage you to call them and to ask them this question yourself. I believe wholeheartedly in what Voc Rehab does. I believe wholeheartedly that just because somebody is different, that does not make them defective. But as it stands, Governor, we are a state that tells people with disabilities that they are only defined by what they cannot do. I believe that they can do, Governor. I believe that having a disability does not make you a defective person. I believe that what makes us different is not a deficit. So, Governor, I encourage you and I implore you, let us prove this to you. Fund Voc Rehab. Give us the chance to give Kentucky citizens a better future. We will not let you down.